Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds.
Hey everybody, this is Evan and John, and you're listening to the Boomer and X Show. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Boomer and X podcast. Two guys, two different generations, 2 points of view. This is our first podcast, and what hopefully will be a long series of podcasts going forward. We're going to talk about a variety of topics. We're going to cover everything from football to movies to current events, news, occasional stories about our personal experience, both past and present. Ongoing sagas in our lives and stories. My partner is going to be becoming a father in a few months, and so we're going to talk about that from time to time. And anyway, we appreciate you joining us, and hope you'll come back each and every time that we put one of these out. My name is John. My partner is Evan. Hello, Evan.
Hey. What's up?
This whole thing was your idea. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how this came to you
in a dream.
In a dream.
Yeah, we're at work, and we do in the real world work together. So it's a common thing for us to be sitting at the break room. And in my dream, we're sitting there doing a normal day at the break room, and we just stop and look around, and everyone in the break room is listening to us, talking.
Okay.
And so we were like, hey, people like listening to us talk about what we talk about. So we, in the dream, started a podcast.
And it is funny that you mentioned that, because several weeks ago, as we were filing out after break, somebody did ask me, what do y'all talk about all the time?
The whole time. We're talking the whole time.
And it just kind of flows naturally. We talk at a level to where nobody can hear us, and that's just, you know, but, I mean, not because we're talking about anything in particularly secretive, it's just that, but yeah, this particular person said, what do y'all talk about all the time? And it just kind of seems like we never run out of things to talk about. I know.
Oh, it's a perfect idea to do a podcast.
Yeah. Several months ago, we took a road trip to Colorado together, and we talked almost the whole time.
Yeah, like 18, 19 hours.
Yeah. So, and again, I think one of the things that we're going to be covering, certainly over the next several weeks, will be football, because that's a topic of interest for both of us. But this isn't a sports show.
Oh, yeah. Well, how pretty sure it's just going to go is whatever's going on in our lives, we're just going to talk about it.
And we both do play fantasy football, so there will be some of that.
Yeah.
And we're both pretty decent at it.
Made the playoffs the last 2 years we did it.
Yeah. Well, I won.
Well, that's true.
Last year. and we're both in the playoffs in our league this year, and I'm in another league, and I'm in the playoffs semifinals in that league as well, too. So that will be a topic, but it's not going to be a sports show.
It's not a sports show. We are funny, but it's not a comedy show.
It's not a comedy show, but hopefully
we do talk about current events, but it's not a news show.
It's not a news show. That's
so,
true.
I mean, we had a hard time figuring out what category do we fit.
We really did.
Because we just talk about so much. I mean, you're a artist on canvas. I'm an artist with music.
True, you're a drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just so many categories that we fit into.
We both went to college, and we're not working in anything remotely related
close to what we went for.
What we went to college to do. Although I did for 15 years, I did work in my chosen field, but I'm not anymore. So yeah, we kind of had a hard time coming up with a category. So the category is whatever is interesting to us, and hopefully we'll make it interesting to the listener as well.
Well, if my dream is any indication of what will be, people like listening to us talk in the dream, so I'm guessing people in real life like listening to us talk, huh?
I hope so, and we'll find out.
Well, something else is the topics. Like say since we never run out of topics, but it is fun to get topic ideas to talk about from listeners. So that would be something we could implement.
Certainly, listeners to send us topics to our email address at theboomerandxshow@yahoo.com.
Yeah,
is something that we welcome, and would love to get some feedback and some ideas from things you would be interested to hear us cover. One thing I guess I want to mention is, while we will try to be accurate with whatever we're talking about, we're not putting ourselves out there as experts on anything.
Oh, no.
But still, I mean, if we're talking about something, I want to, I do want to try to be honest and accurate in the conversation. But we're not experts. We're not putting ourselves out there as experts.
Something I think is a interesting dynamic is the age gap, and that's something that it never is a big deal to us. We just naturally like hanging out and stuff, but it is interesting. Just references I make are references you would never even think of, and vice versa.
And I love to talk about movies that I watched well into my life that came out before you were
I was even alive. Yeah,
I think it's a very interesting dynamic, and I think it makes us somewhat unique in not only our friendship, but in what we can bring to a podcast. I was born in early 1962. You were born in late 1989. So there's almost 28 years between us. But we get along well. We like the same kinds of music. We like kind of the same kinds of movies. And so again, it's unique, and I think it makes it kind of interesting. I had one situation early in life where I had a friend. I was about 18 or 19 years old, and he was actually in his 70s.
Oh yeah, the horse racing guy.
Yeah, and he I knew him from my church, and we would go to the horse races together. As soon as I turned 18, and back then you had to be 18 to go. Now you can go as a kid. You can't bet, but you can take kids out to the horse races. But we would go to the races together, and we wouldn't. There's nothing else that we did, and we hung out. But we would go to the horse races together, and we had our methodology that we liked to pick. I like to study the daily racing form. And he would kind of go off of trainers. He had certain trainers that he liked for certain conditions, like a turf race, or 2-year-olds, or a route, or which is a race over a mile, or a sprint, which is under a mile. And I would try to figure things out through the racing form. But again, I knew him through my family's church, and on Sundays when we were going to go to the races, we would sit on the back pew, and we would sneak out during the benediction so we could get out to the track in time for the daily double.
That's funny.
So, anyway.
Sort of similar.
Yeah. His name was Kermit Gar. He has long since passed, but our friendship was such that by the time he passed, I had moved away 100 miles to go to college, and I came back for his funeral. So, I mean, So I've kind of been in something kind of like this before, except I was the young
opposite.
one. But the gap there was over 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge, and that was really the only thing we did together. But anyway, hopefully this will be an interesting dynamic as we go forward. But, was there anything else that you wanted to say to introduce ourselves? You're married a little less than a year.
Yep.
And you do have a child on the way.
Yes.
7.5, 8 months about from
until the kids.
Right.
Yeah. We found out very recently we would be having a kid, and we tried for a couple months, and right about when my wife was getting distraught, we found out she was pregnant. So, that's another interesting thing that you're a veteran dad of 30 years, and I'm about to be a dad, so that's something I'd like to get in the podcast too. That just kind of I ask you these because in normal I ask just stupid questions a lot, so I'm sure I'm gonna come up with some stupid, kid questions that you could help me answer, and maybe even our listeners could help us out with some answers.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was surfing the internet the other day, and I came up with a nice little questionnaire or a nice little article. It's like 9 ways you'll know you're going to be a good dad, or he's going to be a good dad. We can run through those
You want to?
see if see how that goes. See what you think.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. According to this article by J.D. Roberto that I found on the internet the other day, it said if you're in touch with your inner dork, if you're unapologetic goofball about Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Italian wines, or fantasy football, it's a sign that you'll be completely excited.
It says I'll be a good dad if I like all of that?
It says you'll be a good dad if you can be excited about those things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know you're excited about fantasy football.
In Game of Thrones, I was talking about that with the guy at work today.
Game of Thrones is something that is definitely not in my frame of reference for my generation. Now, Star Wars. Star Wars I can relate to.
Yeah.
It says you're hard to gross out. Baby, barf, pee.
Bring it.
Really? No
Yeah.
problem? No problem at all, huh? Daddy,
as long as it
good,
don't
it's
get
not-
in my mouth. I can touch anything, but as long as I don't have to ingest it.
Are you comfortable with saying I love you, I'm sorry, or when appropriate, nothing at all?
Every day.
What, even nothing at all?
Nothing at all. What do you mean?
It means that you can just shut up when you need to.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. It says you don't need to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually prefer to not be the center of attention. Just kind of, enjoy the moment, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I can go along with that. It says here that you're the future king of Candyland. He can have loads of fun playing
like
everything
games?
from Call of Duty to Chutes and Ladders.
Dude, this is me in an article right here.
It says it's a bad sign if you're known to throw the Xbox controller across the room when you don't win.
No, but that is Katie. she does that.
See, now that's something I would do.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
Oh yeah.
I remember when we were playing Rock Band, and I was like, dude, just try it out. We had it on no fail mode. No matter how bad you did, you couldn't mess up or you couldn't fail.
Right.
And you're over there like, I quit. Screw this. The first time you tried, yeah, I could see you doing that.
I'm just not patient with anything that takes coordination.
And I bet if it was your guitar you were playing with, you probably would have thrown it against the couch or something.
No, because I didn't care that much about that. But no, I wasn't any good. And yes, I was frustrated with it, and no, I wasn't any.
You
good
got
at
better
it.
though. You got better.
And that's not something that I would put a lot of time into. Like say the fantasy football.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you brag about that.
Well, because I'm much more into analyzing things than I am to doing something with my own dexterity. My hands, my fingers, it's just not good. But I enjoy analyzing things and trying to come up with a future result. I like trying to take what has been and what is and determine what will be from it. This is something I enjoy doing. It says you're rich in something other than money. So guys can panic about being able to provide financially for a family, but a good dad knows children need your presence, PRESENCE, S-E-N-C-E, and not your presence, P-R-E-S-E-N-T-S.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so too. I've known you for almost 3 years, and I don't see that being a problem at all. It says here you got to be very good at something. Rebuilding transmission or mixed pairs figure skating. Now I'll ask you, have you ever done mixed pairs figure skating?
No.
Have you ever rebuilt a transmission?
Everything but.
Okay. And your work ethics and patience involved in learning to master a skill. Yeah, definitely.
So, what is that, number 8? Was that
That's That's number 7. He says he's got close friends. Do his friends come looking to him for advice, not just a drinking buddy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any close friends?
I got a couple. I had 7 groomsmen in my wedding, and I didn't pay not a one of them.
And it says he genuinely wants to be a dad. It says this might sound obvious, but you'd be a man.
Yeah.
Be amazed at what a man will agree to if his partner asks him often enough.
Oh, that's true. But like I said, we tried for months, so it's not like I was not wanting to. It's not like it was a surprise. As far as it was a surprise when we found out, but not a surprise like we weren't trying and we found out.
It wasn't like, oh God.
Yeah, exactly.
Or uh-oh. Yeah.
It was like, yes, finally. So, I'm excited.
Well, I've known you about 3 years, and we've formed a very close friendship in that time. I was one of the groomsmen in your wedding, and I spent a good bit of time with you, and I think it's pretty fair to say that you will be an excellent dad, and I look forward to watching that whole process come about and being a part of it. I've been a dad for almost 33 years.
Dang.
I've got a son that's turning 33 in less than 2 weeks, and I've got a grandson that just turned 13. So I've been a dad and a granddad and all of that, and it's it's just you can't put it into words, and you'll find out. You'll find out soon enough, certainly. All right, well that was your test. You can tell Katie that you passed with flying colors. You're going to be a great dad. And let's take a little break. And when we come back, I want to talk about. It's close to the end of the year, and I know that I really like to mark my year, kind of break it up into things that I look forward to.
Yeah.
So let's take a little break, come back, and kind of talk about what gets you through the year. What do you look forward to next? Okay, Evan. So as we headed to break, we talked about the fact that it's mid-December now. There's not a whole lot left in 2014. And we touched on the subject. What gets you through the year? What are the things that you look forward to that moves you from 1 week to the next, and 1 month to the next, and 1 season to the next? So what are some of the things?
Like other than work, other than normal stuff, I
right.
guess.
What?
Well, I mean, there's times where we have big projects going on at work, and that kind of, lines out my month. But let's see. Right now, I'm going through this now. Both me and my wife are from out of town, and we live, her family's away, my family's away. So every holiday especially this time of year, from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day, it's all traveling.
Okay, a lot
a lot of traveling. So that gets us 2 months right there. That's all we do November, December. This time of year also hunting season. That gets me through. Anytime.
So what's your favorite type of game to go after?
I would say squirrel.
Okay.
Because you're actually hunting the squirrel. You don't set out corn and sit there and wait on it to walk in front of you.
Right.
And I like doing that. But my favorite part of deer hunting is doing all of that. Chopping the trail, setting up the stand, everything but sitting in the stand waiting on the deer.
Now, I'm not a deer hunter, so tell me what what you do but you do that stuff during the summer, don't you?
You do it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was always my favorite part. Still is. Now down here in South Louisiana, something that's you don't do a lot of deer hunting here, but you do a whole lot of duck hunting.
Right.
And
Have
we
you
did
ever duck hunted?
once in Toledo Bend. I didn't like it because I was wearing normal hunting clothes like I would deer hunting, and
Right.
we were like right on the lake, and I was freezing and miserable, and I wasn't ready.
Okay, most of the stuff you've talked about is autumn type stuff.
Yeah.
What's the highlight of, say, your winter after the holidays, after January 1st? What's the highlight of the next couple of 3 months for you?
A lot, cycling and working out. That's usually when I kick it up, and most people cycle during like spring to
Right.
winter. I'm the total opposite. I hate cycling when it's hot, and I do it when it's freezing outside, when it's bad weather, just because it's comfortable to me.
Well, and down here, our winters
That's true.
typically
Yeah.
aren't that cold, but
Not that bad.
it's cooler.
Yeah.
And you're not out on a 95-degree day cycling, maybe a 55-degree day.
Yeah.
So, winter is a relative term, really. Down here. I mean, it can be cold and raw and rainy sometimes, but that's not the rule. That's kind of the exception.
So while I'm out cycling in the cold weather, you're sitting in a computer forecasting the weather. Huh?
Well, yeah, I have a degree in meteorology, and I worked in that field for about 15 and a half years. And even though I'm not working in the field of meteorology anymore, I love to follow, study, and continue to use the tools of the trade to look into the future and try to forecast what's coming up. And I'll look at things all around the country, not just where I am,
Yeah, the
because
whole country,
really,
yeah.
to be quite honest
Not
with you,
much
for the
going
most
on.
part, there's usually not a whole lot going on down
Yeah.
here. But I like to follow the weather in other parts of the country when things are interesting, and I find winter storms to be the most interesting kind of weather to follow. That's just I enjoy following hurricanes. I enjoy following severe weather. Almost all meteorologists enjoy the active type of weather, not
Yeah.
sunny and 70 degrees. We kind of like the weather that most people don't like. But
Weirdos.
I like following it. My favorite time of year is what I call the Burr months: September, October, November, December, and it's all because summer's behind us, cooler weather's coming, and it's football season and it's the holiday season. That's what
I think you and
I
probably
like.
95% of the population love that time of year.
Well, I know
I'm right there with you.
I think a lot of people like summer.
I hate summer.
But a lot of people like it. I mean, a lot of people like to go
I wouldn't
to the
say
beach.
hate it. I just
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. Now, if I lived somewhere where it snowed a lot and there was a lot of cold, I would probably welcome the break. But summer is just it's here. It's kind of mundane.
9
It's
months.
very hot. There's mosquitoes. It's just hot and humid. And I'm not a baseball fan, really. I'm not a fan of the sports that are going on during the summer. So it's not my
So
favorite time
what
of
gets
year.
you through the summer?
The fact waiting for the Burr months, waiting for football season, and especially now that you got me hooked into fantasy football. Last year, the 2013 season was the first time I had ever done it. I had never played fantasy before. I'd had a lot of people try to get me in leagues, and I had always resisted because I knew if I got into it, I was going to be in it to win it, and I wasn't going to halfway do it, and it was going to be a big time drain, and it has been. But I've enjoyed it. I'm glad I'm doing it.
Well, I would think a reason you've enjoyed it so much is because you got your son and grandson involved.
My son, who knows everything there is to know about football, when you came to me and when I finally said, okay, let me get back with you, I got off the phone with you and I called my son and I said, would you be interested in doing this together? And he said, absolutely. And my grandson, who was 11, 12 at the time, even chimed in with some assistance. Mm-hmm. So the three of us together pooled our collective football minds last year, and it worked together on one team. We formulated a draft, and we made waiver pickups and so on and so forth. And so doing it together with the two of them definitely added a lot to the enjoyment for me.
Also, you won. So.
And I won.
Well,
we won.
And you were going up against a bunch of pros, too.
A lot of people have been doing it for a long time. And now I'm in my second year, and we are in the semifinals.
In 2 leagues.
In 2 leagues. The only 2 we're in. The league I'm in with you, and another one that a guy this summer asked me if I wanted to join it. And I said, sure, go ahead and do it. So that has just... now, I'll tell you what it's done. I was mainly a college football fan. And I really, on an autumn Saturday, I can lock up in front of my television from 11 a.m. until midnight watching college football from all over the country.
Every game.
I love it. I
don't see how you do that.
But now I'm watching games on Sunday or Monday night.
Thursday
night or Sunday night that I typically may not have been interested in. You know, I'd follow the Saints and the Steelers, but now I could be watching a game between Tennessee and Jacksonville because I might have a player going, or Denver and San Diego because I've got somebody going.
And it does help to actually watch the game when you're a fantasy owner,
Well, it does. I mean, it does. I mean, it's kind of research.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, if I was going to do it, I was going to really give it my best shot and try to do well with it. So
I think I just in the fantasy just get lucky. Well, I had a rough start, but I mean, I limped into the Final Four. 7-8 is my record, and the guy who was 10-5.
Yeah,
Tristan, and I beat him I had a 300-point lead on him, but he had a way better record. So I just
10
and
well, no, I mean if he would have had a
4?
better record, he would have gotten in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so
but you guys both ended up 7-8.
yes,
but you had him beat on points.
yes.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? He had a
Well,
all season he's had a better record.
He had
and I finally
a better
caught
record
up.
all season, and the last weekend he lost and you won.
Yeah.
And that tied you.
Yeah.
And then you ended up beating him on points. So, but once football season and so football's gonna last through January with the NFL playoffs, and once that's done, then got February, Mardi Gras, usually comes in that time.
Oh,
And I'm not a big celebrator of Mardi Gras, but
Yeah,
we
me neither.
get a break.
That's true.
We get
do
a break.
off
We get a
for 2 days.
4-day Monday,
4 days.
Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, all from work. It's still winter, so
and we plan on going
I'm
up
seriously
to do
thinking
some
about
skiing.
taking a ski trip this coming winter, but we'll see, or this coming Mardi Gras, I should say, but we'll see for sure. But once we get into the spring, I'm still doing stuff outdoors before it gets too hot. Like I said, cycling, going out and playing
Fishing,
some football.
yeah.
You and I go do some fishing. But really, for the summertime, I'm not a fan of it. Again, because it's so hot and muggy.
Is that when you do most of your art?
I do a good bit of my painting. Actually, I'll start doing a good bit of my painting after football season is over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I will do a lot. I pretty much from September up into January, any spare time is devoted to football and now the podcast. But football. After that, since I'm not a fan of basketball, I'm not a fan of baseball, I'll watch the horse races, like the Triple Crown races, but that doesn't take a whole lot of time.
Yeah,
It's
one day.
every few weeks. There's 3 of them, and they last a few minutes. Since I'm not an overall sports fan, just a football fan, then I'm not much of a TV watcher, certainly sports-wise, those other 8 months of the year, 7 or 8 months of the year. So that's when I get the majority of my painting done. I like to travel. I have some friends that live up in Michigan, and I like to go see them for the 4th of July. I've got a buddy that lives out on the West Coast. I've gone to see him summer before last. You and I and Katie took that trip to Colorado. So traveling, painting, and get me through summer until next football season is really what is kind of what gets me through the year. Easily, my favorite months are September, October, November, and December.
So, just, while we were talking about it, I'm thinking, it's just hitting me, like, how is having a kid going to change all of that stuff I do? Like, will I be able to go hunt, fish? Will I be able to, it's...
Well, it's going to change everything you do. I mean, it just is, because there's going to be less mobility.
That's true. You can't just go. Yeah, you're
right.
Yeah, I don't regret it. It's just, I'm thinking, next year, if we do have this same conversation, how will I have filled my year up? Like, what will I have done?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
totally different.
It's incredibly different. Yeah.
Well, 1-year-olds don't do a lot.
No,
but you just got to take them everywhere.
Right. Well,
you can't.
They don't do a whole lot on their own or for themselves. That's for sure. So they're.
That's true.
I mean, you won't be signing them up for football or pep squad
or play dates or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just kind of hit me talking about it, but.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely going to change. It's
everything.
Everything, yeah. But then he or she will. Actually, what you'll do is you'll start marking things down by things when they first talk, when they first walk, when they first do certain things, and that'll kind of be your calendar, probably more so than your calendar is right now. It's going to be about when did he or she first say this,
potty train,
when they do this, when did they accomplish this, and so yeah, that's what's going to change. Your year is going to be marked by those
their
things,
accomplishments,
by their accomplishments and milestones, as opposed to hey, how many weeks to football season. So yeah, that's what's coming up for you.
Oh yeah, I embrace it. It's going to be awesome.
So that I think that does it for this our first inaugural episode of the Boomer and X Show.
Oh yeah, we could try and keep them short. 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
30 to 40 minutes probably.
Heck, we might even do if it's a. I mean, heck, when we get started talking about football, there's no telling. We might go 45 minutes just on that.
We might run a little long with our. And we'll probably hit a football episode in a few days after the upcoming. This is the first weekend of bowl games coming up in college, and then of course the NFL season, and we've got our fantasy playoffs that I know when we get to the other side of the football weekend, we'll be talking about all of those.
Well,
things.
Because if you win and I win this week, me and you will be going up against each other.
True. So I would say our next episode is going to be pretty football heavy.
It's going to be nut but smack talk.
A lot. It'll be football heavy. So anyway, thanks for joining us this time. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll come back and see us again, and tell your friends about us. And anything we want to tell the folks before we say goodnight?
As far as getting us known, we want to entertain more than anything, and y'all just have a good time listening to us, help you pass your day. But to help us out on iTunes, give us a review, good or bad. We really want your feedback. We want to know what you think would help us make a better podcast. Boomer over here said, for topic ideas, you can email us at theboomerandxshow@yahoo.com. We just really want to connect with y'all. We also got a Facebook page. That's the Boomer and X Show. And we're making ourselves very available for comments and any good or bad. We want to hear it.
And thanks again for joining us. That's it for this time, and we'll see you next time.